Hello everybody and welcome back to Spell Slam. We're taking a break from classic Pauper games today to hopefully introduce you to a brand new format called PDH, Pauper EDH, or Commander EDH. Pauper Commander is a lot like regular Commander. A lot of the same rules apply. For those of you who may not have heard of Commander or maybe have never even played it, it's a variant form of Magic the Gathering where you start with 40 life and have a legendary creature that you can cast from the command zone. Your deck is 99 singleton cards plus your general, and all the cards in your deck must be of your general's colors. Your general also deals general damage, and if your opponent takes 21 or more, they lose the game. Pauper Commander changes two important elements to this. First, all of your 99 cards must have been printed as common at one point in Magic's history. No uncommons, rares, or mythics allowed. Second, your general can be any uncommon or common creature. It does not have to be legendary, since there aren't many uncommon legendaries out there. And that's it. Some people play a variant of Commander where their general is still a traditional legendary creature, but the rest is 99 commons. While this is a viable and fun way to play the game, this isn't really what we're going to be discussing in this video. So, as a format, PDH has its own unique feeling and gameplay, which you should be aware of before starting to build your deck. Many of the strategies that you would find in a regular Commander can be found in Pauper Commander. Voltron General, Control, Aggro, Combo, etc. It's important to realize, though, that unlike regular Commander, there are very few board wipes at Common. There are no regular sweepers to clear a problematic board, so this affects how the game is played in a big way. Black has access to the most board wipes, which gives it a huge advantage over the other colors. But because of this lack of sweepers in general, board states can get very cluttered and complex. There are very few bombs in Pauper, so games are much less swingy and revolving around big plays and single cards. This means that games are very grindy. Every bit of value you can get out of your cards can be crucial in taking the game. I believe this makes it a very skill-intensive format that tests your decision-making. Building a Pauper Commander deck can be a surprising challenge for a number of reasons. There are hundreds of uncommon creatures to sift through before you choose your commander, but that's just the start. If you choose a commander with a specific theme, you need to dig deep to find out if there are actually enough playable cards to support your strategy. If you choose a more general theme, like tokens and Selesnya colors, you won't have any problems. However, if you go for a more obscure theme and even decide to stick to a monocolored general, you'll find that your options may be limited, and your deck may need a lot of filler in order to work the way you want it to. Sometimes, there just aren't enough cards at common to support your general's theme, and the idea is just too weak for a 99 singleton deck. I have to say that building a Pauper Commander deck that I enjoyed took me many attempts. The deck building process can be a challenge, even for long-time players. The singleton rule forces you to dig deep in the Magic card pool and have to include cards that you never thought were even close to playable in any other format, many of which you've never even heard of. Another important thing to remember is how long games can go, so prepare to durdle if you have to. Cards that may seem bad for commons suddenly might have important applications because of the restricted card pool and singleton rule. Janky combos with expensive cards that generate value could be important late-game engines for you. Lastly, certain colors are obviously better at generating card advantage than others. Blue and black have tons of options when it comes to card drawn selection, so it's no wonder they're popular and powerful colors in Pauper Commander. Green, white, and especially red need to be very clever in their deck building if they're not paired with blue or black. Repeatable effects from graveyards like Retrace or Flashback, 2-for-1 effects, cantripping creatures, or combat tricks are all important ways to generate some form of card advantage. Many popular generals in these colors are themselves consistent sources of card advantage, fueling the rest of the deck. Mesa Enchantress, Goblin Matron, and Garruk's Pack Leader are all fine examples of this. I've read many articles online concerning alternate rules when playing Pauper Commander, and I think it's worth mentioning some here. Some playgroups decide to switch from a starting life total of 40 to 30. I can see how this makes sense considering how much smaller the average creature is in this format. Some groups also change the commander damage threshold from 21 to 16 in order to match the change in starting life total. I personally like this change a bit less, as generals focusing on general damage can easily reach 16 damage in the early turns of the game. often even faster than regular legendary generals could. Some groups don't allow common generals at all. I've heard a very interesting rule where no card in your 99 can be of greater converted mana cost than your general, which would limit your options even further but make your general more meaningful. Whatever makes you happy. A few cards worth mentioning as potentially bannable cards. I don't really agree with banning anything outright for such a fringe format that has almost no records showing how oppressive a general or a card might be. That being said, here are my thoughts on a few cards that I think should be monitored. Crypt Rats as a general is my main concern, as it's a board wipe that you can easily cast over and over, and that also damages your opponents in the process. This is an extremely powerful card that would definitely focus the game around it. Invisible Stalker is an almost impossible creature to interact with outside of board wipes, which not all colors have access to. Lay down on turn 2, it can lead to some incredibly fast kills that your opponents can do nothing about. Thankfully, Mono Blue doesn't have that many powerful auras to cast on it, and equipment is also pretty limited. Peregrine Drake is the premier combo general in this format, easily capable of ending the game the turn it enters the battlefield. Every deck should be prepared to deal with infinite combos if they know this deck is floating around. The final card that I feel can be oppressive is one that belongs in the 99. Capsize may not look like much to non-Pauper players, but the value it can create over time, not to mention what you can do with infinite mana, is absurd. You can find yourself completely locked out of the game by a single card. Thankfully, Capsize can be interacted with by removing its target to fizzle the spell, or through counter magic. So that's it, guys. Let me know what you think of the format. Is it something you could see yourself playing? Would you implement some sort of your own house rule? What general would you play? I've had a blast playing this format with my friends. I also like playing it one-on-one, maybe even more so, actually. Maybe that's the way to play. Is Pauper Commander something you'd like to see on the channel? Let me know in the comments. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.